Hello, everyone, and welcome to LLB with Fatah Khan. Today, we are on episode number 23. I'm your host, Fatah Khan, a mid career transformation coach, a best selling author, a TEDx speaker, and a podcast host. Right today, we are on episode number 23, and the topic is how can leaders learn empathy? Before we talk about how can leaders learn empathy, let's understand why should leaders first of all learn empathy? What is the reason? What is why empathy is so important for leaders? Let's understand something around that. Now let me give you an analogy. Think of yourself, right, navigating a dense forest with your team. Now the terrain is challenging and everyone is equipped with different skills and strengths. As a leader, your role is not just to guide from the front, but to truly understand the journey of each team member. Now, let's understand this concept very well, right? If you are working with people, do you agree that people, everyone is different? Different in terms of their strengths, different in terms of their weakness, and everyone, when you look at their professional life, there is also a personal life attached to it, right? And we all know different people would have different challenges, right? Married people have different challenges, right? The youngsters who are unmarried have different challenges, but everyone has some or the other challenge in their life, has some or the other situation that they are going through in their life, and they all are in the same team. So, as a leader, you cannot put everyone on the same stage and think that everyone is like having the same skills or the same strengths or the same weaknesses or has the same kind of situation and challenges in life. So, it is very important as a leader to build empathy because remember this, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Let me repeat this again, right? Whatever kind of skills you have, whatever kind of accomplishments you have as a leader, right, whatever kind of position you have as a leader, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's why empathy is important. You need to care about your people. Only when you care about your people will take care of the work and the organization, right? With that, I hope you are able to understand why empathy is important and why, as a leader, you need to learn and develop empathy so that you can become a legendary leader. So, what are the ways? How can leaders learn empathy? I'm going to share like how you can learn empathy and how you can actually explore using the 5 steps that can help you actually to cultivate and learn empathy. What are these steps? Number one, active listening. Now, a lot of people say communication as a skill. I want to master communication if I want to become a great leader. I need to be a great speaker, right? But people do not understand that communication as a skill, right? In that, the most critical factor is what is the most critical factor in that? In communication, the most important thing which most of the people forget is listening. And as a leader, you need to be an active listener until and unless you don't actively listen to your team members in terms of the challenges that they are going through, right? Because see, people, everyone, right, they have certain things, certain challenges in their life, right? Let me give you a real time scenario. I remember one of my team members, he was a strong performer, right? And then I actually went ahead and spoke to this person because somewhere I realized the performance was dipping. As a leader, I could have taken approach number one, which would have been I just go ahead and talk to him about the performance, right? The performance has gone down, because of which I can rate that particular team member low on performance and I can give a warning for that particular team member on the performance. That's an ordinary leader. But the approach number two, as an empathetic leader, the approach that I can take is when I'm talking to that particular team member about the performance, I talk to that team member about what is happening that is actually stopping them to perform to their best. I can go ahead and Try to understand by becoming an active listener and giving an eye to that person, giving an ear to that person to listen what are the challenges or what is actually stopping them. And if you are listening, if you are speaking, then you don't get the best. But if you are listening, you actually get the best out of the people. Right? I still remember when I spoke to this person, I got to know there are so many personal challenges that person is going through, because of which there are she or he is not able to perform in the professional life, in the career. And I realized, if I'm able to solve this personal problem, right, will I be able to solve the personal problem for that person? Maybe, maybe not. But can I become a good listener? And I can I become empathetic to listen to that problem and acknowledge that problem and allow the person to take some time to solve that problem, so that once that person is able to fix the personal problems, they can again become the top performer in their professional life. Think of this. What is the best? Approach number one, as a normal leader, you just directly talk on the performers and then you give them the low rating or you fire them. Or as a legendary leader, as a leader with empathy, you understand the problem. And empathy is where you are stepping in their shoes, you're understanding their situation. What is the difference between sympathy and empathy? Sympathy is you sympathize for them, right? Somebody is going through pain, you feel bad for them. Oh, you are going through that pain, you lost your family member, or somebody is not well at your home, right? You feel bad for them. But what is empathy? Empathy is you can feel for them, you care for them, right? And you are able to actually put yourself in their shoes and understand the situation and help them to navigate through that situation. That is leadership. That is a true leader with empathy. Now, what is number two? Right? Step number two is put yourself in their shoes. Now, as a leader, once you have actively listened, right? Once you have actively listener, the first step becoming an active listener, you have to listen to them. Second thing is, as I shared, empathy versus sympathy, right? What is empathy? Putting yourself in their shoes, right? Imagine the world from the perspective of each team member. Like your each of the team member may have different challenges, right? And then you might have certain perspective. Like for example, somebody like if you are an aggressive leader, if you are result oriented leader, and you're always thinking of results in terms of taking actions, but then there is some other team member, their perspective of getting results or doing certain thing is different. You can't just have your own perspective all the time. You need to put yourself in your team members shoes. You need to understand their perspective. Why are they behaving in certain way? Why are they not able to take actions, or why are they not able to get results? You need to put yourself in their shoes so that you can understand their situation. You can understand where are they coming from. You can understand why are they doing certain thing. If you are able to understand that, you can solve that problem in better ways. So that's step number two. What is step number three? Step number three, as an empathetic leader, is to ask open ended questions, right? This is where your skill shows up as a great leader. See, one of the things, if you want to understand about a person, right, and if you want to understand their challenges and pain, if you ask close ended questions like, is it still a problem with you? What is it? It's a close ended question where a person can say yes or no. Are you going to go home today? Yes or no? Right? Like, did you have a challenge yesterday in completing the task? It's a close ended question. Yes or no? But if you are asking open ended questions, what challenges did you have yesterday because of which you are not able to complete the task? What are the roadblocks that you are seeing because of which the project has got delayed? Ask open ended questions, because when you ask open ended questions, people will be able to share their heart out. People will be able to share what is that they are going through. Because see, until and unless you don't understand the problems and the challenges the team members are going through, you will not be able to resolve them. And we all know at leadership levels, it's a lot about people. You will face more people problem than any product problem, service problem, tool problem, software problem. I hope you agree with that. And if you want to ask questions, you need to ask open ended questions. So that's number three. What is number four? Step number four is recognize non verbal clues. Now, when you are asking questions, an empathetic leader is the one when asking question is not only actively, what do you mean by actively listening? It's not only that they are listening to somebody what they are speaking in terms of their words or their sentences, but they are also looking for non-verbal clues, right? My body language, right? The opposite person, if I'm talking to opposite person, a team member, I would also observe their body language, right? If they are getting irritated, if they are getting frustrated, if they have different facial expressions, right? If they have different gesture, right? Their hand movements, right? If they are crunching their fingers, right? If they are actually biting their teeth, right? You observe those body reactions. If they are going back, right, because of the questions that you are asking, or if they are leaning forward to show curiosity in terms of what you are navigating them. So all of these are non-verbal clues. So you need to look for non-verbal clues so that you can understand their situation and you can navigate that particular challenge well. You can navigate in that situation well, right? So that's recognizing non-verbal clues. And number 5 is foster a culture of empathy. Now, what do I mean by foster a culture of empathy? Create that as a team culture, right? Empathy as a team culture. Like you need to lead by example, because as a leader, if you are just only task oriented, and if you are just talking about the professional things, and if you are like just talking about whether it is complete or not, and whatever your practice is, your team would also practice the same. But what if you are able to foster an environment and a culture of empathy, right? For example, whenever you are encouraging empathy with the team members, like somebody empathizing other, you appreciating and acknowledging that team member, somebody is compassionate about the other team member, you encourage that culture, right? When you are able to actually go ahead and appreciate and acknowledge, that's when people will feel good about it and they continue to practice that. So as a leader, you need to make this culture as an integral part of your organization culture. Empathy should be something that should become a part of the value of every team member in your organization. Because if you are able to do that, think of it, if every team member can empathize the other team member, if a manager can empathize their team members, right? If somebody can empathize their, not only their peers but also their subordinates, what kind of culture would you see? You would see a beautiful organization culture. And remember, wherever you have to reach, whatever levels your organization is reaching, at every level, organization culture is important. And if you are able to build and foster a culture where empathy is one of the biggest value, you will have an amazing organization culture and you can get huge results and success for your organization. So with that, I want to summarize of how can leaders learn empathy by exploring these 5 steps. One, step number 1 is active listening. Step number 2, put yourself in their shoes. Step number 3, ask open ended questions. Step number 4, recognize non-verbal clues. Step number 5, foster a culture of empathy. If you are able to do this, right? So it's just like in the dense forest, you can actually navigate and you can build a great culture and you can get success for your teams and for your organization. So I wish you best luck for becoming an empathetic leader, because if you want to become a legendary leader, empathy is a crucial value. Empathy is an important value. Empathy is a non-negotiable value that you need to have to become a great leader, to become a legendary leader. With that, thank you for listening to me, right? And I'll see you soon in the next episode on Legendary Leadership Bites. Thank you so much and have a great time.